Tell us about the kittens.
No sound and a PS4 commercial.
That is kind of a Matrix thing. Soft.
Oh, it probably reset when we.
Oh, that's right. When you restarted, when you jiggled the cord.
No, London.
Maybe like oh, watermelon.
Yes.
Watermelon. Jiggle it.
My
Okay, you're good.
we're good now?
Here.
Are we really good?
Excellent.
Or are we awesome?
Okay. So we are going to talk about all the disciplines that we made.
All the disciplines.
All the disciplines. Feel free to shout out your questions. Valerie or Jonathan will relay them to us.
We will answer them.
You pretty much have the entire.
Is that okay?
Yeah, you can pull it back if you want to.
Oh god, earthquake! Oh god!
Sorry.
How's that?
Can I see?
Better?
Oh, yeah, different screen. She's on a different screen.
I'll start Unity while that's doing its thing. Then we go back to kittens.
You know, if you synced, you'd have all the fixes I just checked in.
Well, we don't need all the fixes.
Unless you guys want to scoot back about 5 feet.
No, we can't scoot back because we need to do this. All right, so
We need to do this.
we have a master sheet that we were operating from when we created these things. And by these things, I mean all the disciplines. Except I can't get to it now because Unity is playing and it won't let me go to my back.
Oh, there you go.
No, I still can't minimize it while it's starting up.
Try Windows.
No, I got it.
Yeah, do that. Do the thing you did.
Okay. So over here in Microsoft Excel land, document recovery, you know, my Windows Excel has been crashing all day long.
Use Open Office. It's
Yeah.
free.
So you guys are familiar with all of these major disciplines as you have seen them all in game, or they're actually you've seen the finished version of them. This is where we started with
The ugly beginnings.
the
That's
beginnings.
not true. It's actually quite organized, actually, surprisingly.
I'm just going to start up the scene that we're going to go play in, and the ones that we're going to talk about. So, which one do you want to talk about first? Which was your favorite one to build, Mark?
Oh, geez, so many good ones. Let's see. As far as fun, let's take a look here. Well, so I mean, obviously, Field Surgeon was actually one of the ones I was looking forward to, just because I think it has kind of a pretty awesome ability to rescue, which was broken. Actually, I broke it accidentally in testing it. I had it targeting you instead of your target. But that was actually kind of a cool one. It will prevent a target from dying for 15 seconds, and then they can die again. But it's actually pretty useful support ability. That's one of them, and I mean, obviously, I'm kind of partial to all the.
All right, well, let's dig into that one.
Sure.
Oops, we don't need to look at ourselves.
That will just freak us out.
Yes.
Like one of the
Well, that's doing
the
that.
fighting fish. Be
All
like,
right, so
who's that designer? Get him!
get him. Let me go over to our power editor, and you said that.
Field surgeon.
Field surgeon rescue. Okay.
So that's the one. And see, that's the culprit right there that you can't see him pointing at. That self DM should be a proc target.
So for a lot of you who haven't seen our what does a power look like? This is what a power looks like. There's a bunch of boxes that do various things.
Various stuff.
So, go ahead.
All right, sure. So what this one does, so you'll see at the very top, these. Okay, so first off, you got to know that these flow from the what side is this? From the left to the right. So you will see that the very corner box on the top left is basically the root node, right? So that's the very, a lot of times it's a client side sort of very basics kind of things that make up the abilities. Be like the animation, what buttons does it take, what button activates it? What does the icon look like? What is it called? What's the name? That very basic level stuff. And those always attach to a delivery mechanism, and that is how the game effects are delivered to you. So in this case, you can see it's using a soft target DM. That's the green box just to the that side, to the right of the the ability node, and that's basically sort of a sticky raycast. So what that does is it basically just hits whatever is under your reticle. And so this ability is intended to be, basically used on a friendly target.
Yep.
So
Friendly
you will,
right here.
Yep, friendly only. And so
35 meters.
so within 35 meters, you see your friend is about to die. You can quickly cast this on them and hopefully keep them up for about 15 seconds. Kind of gives them a reprieve. So if they're under you're under somebody under heavy focus fire, this will give them some breathing room. And so
What is this proc doing?
this is saying that if you're about to die,
okay, it's about to die. It doesn't take any parameters.
yes, it basically says, "Are you about to die? Don't die."
However, you needed to do this on
Proc target.
yes.
Which
Let's just change that to proc target. There we go. Now it looks correct.
yeah,
at
now
least.
it looks as it actually is. If you
In our next
you sync.
hotfix, you'll
Yes,
see this
you'll see
actually
that.
working.
Yeah, so what that will do then is so if we back up, just clicking on the white one there is a proc condition. So what that's going to do is procs look at the current state of your character and what's happening as far as basically it looks for events. And so the event this proc is looking for is about to die. So it looks, if you're about to die, then it will move on to the delivery mechanism, which is proc target, which is like who you are, the person I targeted. And then it will do stuff.
Does the team filter matter on this one, or is
It is, yeah, it should be friendly.
that's what I thought.
Right, and so that goes into a pair of game effects, which actually do stuff. So what this is doing here is this is setting. Normally, there's a couple different ways we can handle pool game effects. This one in particular. So a lot of times we would use the same sort of thing to do damage. In this case, we're doing something a little different. If you look at under value type, so just click on value type there, right? So normally we would say absolute, and what that would do is take that value and add or subtract it from whatever it is. In this case, hit points. If it were to do damage or to be a heal. In this case, though, we're setting it. So what we're saying is, if you're about to die, in other words, if your hit points have dropped under 1, set you to 1. And that will happen every time you're about to die, which is basically anytime you hit and you take damage, we go, no, you're at 1, you're at 1, you're at 1, you're at 1, and that remains until the effect ends, and that's how we're keeping you alive.
What do we do in this hanging game
I
effect?
have no idea. What is that? Oh, okay. So
a 2 minute.
a 2-minute, you can't be have this
Okay.
again, right? And so this is also checking. I believe there should be a condition that says if you don't have this on the top one, the set absolute one, right yonder. Hey, the condition's gone, or maybe actually might be on the proc. Probably up on the proc.
Yeah, it's on the proc. Yeah, you're preventing it up here.
Yeah.
You're just not even attaching the proc if they already.
Yeah. So this can only happen to you once every 2 minutes, because otherwise that would be super amazing and probably ridiculous.
Yeah. So basically, if you use this ability, which is on a 45-second cooldown on a target who has the tag, you essentially just burned it because it's going to bounce because this condition is going to fail.
Correct.
Correct. So that's how we prevent you from being super OP. Do we have any interesting questions on chat? Or are we confusing the hell out of everybody by throwing this tool up?
Yeah. I mean.
They're really wanting to know about Poisoner, and Tennis was wanting to see some stuff about the Bard song.
Okay. So Poisoner, what was?
They would like to know if the poison food part of it.
The poison food.
All right.
Okay.
They said that right now I'm imagining that I'll never accept food from my friends because shenanigans are never
It
ending.
depends on who your friends are. Huh? They're like, hey, that's a good muffin. Come on, trust me.
It's a good muffin. So that one is, the intent of that one is that you can poison food, and you can, probably in conjunction with the pickpocket one that we designed in the last hour segment, you can put that in their inventory when they eat it. This is how every power in the game works, is this tool that we're in right here. So we would create something like this that would do something. It would be a dot. It would take away all your food because you got sick or something like that.
Yeah.
When I say all your food, I'm talking about, of course, the chicken ticker right here. We could just say, oh, minus all of your chicken ticker because you just ate poison food. There's a lot of things we could do with that one.
Yeah, that one is, again, that's one we don't have tech for, which is why it's not a game right now.
Right.
But there's a lot of different cool things we can do with that. We just haven't.
Yeah, so for a lot of the disciplines, there was a piece of tech or two that was missing, and we didn't want to just shut you guys down from testing that discipline because of one missing power, which is why, did Nova make the build?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if it's in the build. I mean, obviously, I know it's done. To be honest, I'm not sure.
Okay, so some of them were
They
missing
move fast,
one.
so.
Yeah, some of them were missing one, and their pieces will come online. So what was the question?
So Tennis was wondering if you could use songs while you're stealthed, and what the range is like on the bard songs.
Right now, well, so let's talk about. Or what were you gonna say, Mark?
Well, I was just basically going to point out currently the rules for stealth, right? So the rules that we sort of have set up for stealth right now say that if you cause damage, that will kick you out of stealth. If you enter combat, that will kick you out of stealth. So in a lot of cases, just the fact that it's an offensive, like for example the shouts and a dirge and stuff like that, will just kick you out of stealth because you're doing damage. When it comes to buffs and stuff like that. That is a different question, and right now you would sort of be limited with what we let you load out in stealth.
Yeah.
So
that is a great limiter. So, for example, bard songs, I don't think they can be loaded out into the stealth tray. Oh, they're set to anyone, so yes, they would.
You probably could right now.
So probably could right now. We'll probably start clamping
Well, wait
down.
a minute, no. Well, we'll have to see.
I think anyone has the stealth tray in it.
Okay, we might have to change that.
Yeah.
If we don't want people singing in stealth, that's not very stealthy.
Yeah,
Where
so,
does it come from?
and to answer the second part of the question, the range is 75 meters right now, so that it's awfully big.
That is bigger than our other group DMs.
But
bigger than big.
Yeah, it will end up somewhere between 50 and 75. Yeah. Okay. So Bard is one of my weekend love children. It only exists because I was working on these guys over the course of several weekends. It is.
Pretty cool.
It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys find it fun. And let's look at this. So, let me load this sucker out. Okay, so there are. Hey, look at that! Excel stopped working.
Bye, Excel.
What?
Bye now.
What? Why? Why? I was trying to type something up in Word and it kept crashing too. I have no clue what's up with Word today.
Internet. What?
No, I grabbed you. Okay, so if you look at each of these, there is a Type 1 song, a Type 2 song, a Type 3 song, and a Type 4 song. There are 3 minor bard disciplines that I just kind of had a lot of fun making this, since I was just making it on the weekend and just having fun. I just tested a lot of things. Twisting. I will explain how twisting works, and I will load this out. Okay, so there are 4 types of song. There's a speed song. There's a damage reduction buff. There's a healing, but it heals through regens rather than flat out healing people. And there is an attack power, support power buff. Each of these songs has a basic version and an empowered version. To trigger the empowered version, you have to use the song twisting passive, which comes from the minor. And once you have met the requirements, which is you have played all 4 songs within 6 seconds, it activates a buff. That means the next song that you play will be the empowered version. So I'm going to do that here with, I'm playing the movement song right there. Now I'll play that song. I will play the 3rd song and the 4th song. So now that will trigger pure voice, which means the next song that I play will be the empowered version. So in this case, instead of Song of Speed, you see D. Orion's Accelerando, which is the empowered version. You also notice the effect is a little fancier. So Aislinn, one of our effects artists, made all of the Bard song particles. She went through and made a special version for every one of the empowered ones. Since, was that Excel again?
Yeah, it's like, I'm not done crashing yet.
It's like, I gotta crash. I'm not done crashing yet. Close you. Why? Why, Word? Oh, now you're going to get in front of my screen too? Anyways. So as long as I don't get stunned or start another song, I'm going to stay in the empowered version because I got the empowered version going. Now, the gameplay around this is it is possible to get all 4 of the empowereds up in combat if you know how to twist. Now, it is kind of a challenge at the 12 seconds. There's another minor that increases the song duration by 6 seconds, which does make it possible for those who are not so good at playing rhythm games. But in this case, so I'm going to wait till it to tick again, and then now I'm going to start singing 6, 7, 8, and then now I'm going to go back to 5 to refresh it. Oh no, it's going to trigger my pure voice. So crap. 6, 7, 8. I may lose the, it's a really tight window. Maybe if I go 6. So if you can imagine doing this while running, you are going to be in for a very challenging game session. But the Bard is mainly a support guy. So what I've got going here is, did I get Ode to Cain up?
Yeah, you had it there.
Okay, so I should get pure voice here again on this one. Yeah, I don't know if I can keep up Ode to Cain at the same time. I have Gaia's Chorus, which is the empowered version of the hymn. Pure voice again. Oh, should I? So again, the rhythm game is definitely challenging. I'm used to doing it on 1, 2, 3, 4. You guys will figure it out. But basically the idea is we put in a lot of cool, fun little things for you guys to find, new things to master. This is far easier if you are only doing 1 or 2. But again, if just the healing and the speed one are enough for you in combat, then that's enough for you in combat, right? But if you want to take the twisting one,
If you're really cool.
if you're a really cool kid. Now, one of the things I also did was Troubadour is the offensive version of the Bard songs, and you'll notice the Troubadour songs also have a type 1, 2, 3, and 4. They will substitute for the type 1, 2, 3, or 4 from the Bard songs in the twisting mechanic. So if you really don't like if you don't like the heal song, because heals are terrible,
Who doesn't like healing?
you can substitute it with Dirge, which is the AoE point-blank damage song. And that would substitute for the Type 3 song requirements of the twisting mechanic. So you guys will figure it out. You'll come up with stuff. You will. I'm sure you will master it far better than us. I really like the enhanced particles that she did for that. That's definitely more
Beautiful.
Yeah, you will automatically, again, once a song is active, it's now considered toggled on, and it's going to refresh every 6 seconds until you stop it or until you get CC'd. I imagine most folks will run around with this with the speed song, and there is going to be a couple bugs with the speed song as part of the race class split stuff that we're doing on the back end. We'll clean up the movement code a little bit to make it so that's not a problem in the future. But for now, going into combat will definitely cancel it, and that's just a side effect of the way things are.
Yeah.
I mean, we couldn't fix everything in the last
Harden
couple
our
weeks.
dust kind of thing.
Yeah, so please
still
excuse us.
thinking.
Any questions?
Did you Did you answer the question about what's the movement speed differences between the speed song and the improved speed song?
Right now, the speed song is 35%, and the improved speed song is 45%.
Holy
So you get
so fast.
another 10%. In fact, I can demo that. So I've just got Trailblazer going here. Hello. Okay, that's normal speed song. Let me start a twist so I can get to the empowered. Pure voice is going. So now I've got Dorian's, and this is the out of combat speed. So again, that 35% and that 45% are out of combat speeds. In combat, I think it's 10% and 15%. So it's nowhere near as significant in combat. And if that becomes a problem in combat, we'll definitely hit it with ye old the friendly Nerf bat.
The friendly Nerf bat.
Yes. Yes. Any other questions?
Are
Yeah.
songs? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Are songs group only or faction?
Songs are group only. We generally, so there's a bunch of heals that we made that do go for the faction in this one.
Yeah, mainly the targeted stuff.
Yeah.
Like the directly targeted stuff would be faction, but
Or naiads, like her ground targeting one.
but generally, yeah, the just indiscriminate AOE stuff is probably just going to be group, just to keep things on the up and up.
So Don DeGora was hoping that you could talk about what your plans were for the illusionist disciplines and kind of what the theming is as far as the skills that you made for it.
Illusionist, huh? Well, let's go look at our friend Excel if it doesn't crash on us. I don't know why. Why? Okay. So illusionist, this was one of the last ones we did. Okay, so illusionist gives you a bunch of buffs. So it increases weapon damage by 10%. It activates anti-stealth. So prior to this, stealth was just a passive that everybody had running where you could see stealth people if they breached your area. We've made it an active thing now, so if there's stealthers in the area, they could be messing with you, and unless you have a way to reveal them, you're either going to have to pop them out with an AoE damage, or they're going to get the first move on you. Or if you have the updated ranger or one of these powers, then you can look around and try and pop them out. That's what one of these powers does.
Yeah, and there's a number of different, a couple different disciplines give you anti-stealth stat.
It also gives you finery plus 2% damage bonus, healing bonus for each equipped piece of armor, epic or above. That is a nice bribe that says, hey, you're going to want to wear good armor into combat and not try and take the low-end route and just wear garbage into combat, because we're going to reward you even more for wearing good stuff into combat. And that's just a personal passive. But things like reveal shadows, I think this is an interesting design philosophy that we had on some of this stuff, which is we need one person in the group to have this. And, you know, I've seen this on the forums, too. People are like, hey, I'm just going to swap this out whenever I see a confessor, and confessors are a dead class.
Yeah, right.
Which is not going to happen. Maybe one person will roll with those, so you have... Somebody needs to be a bard. Right. Not everybody needs to be a bard.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
And I mean, if everybody decides to take Firewalker, for example, because they hate confessors, well, all right, everybody uses maces then. I mean, it's there's a lot of eggs in that basket.
And
right?
you're sacrificing one of your two very significant subclasses to just counter one class.
Right. I mean, everybody takes Firewalker, and you get to the battlefield, and it's Ganetian Day. Right. It's like there's not a single fire user in sight. Well, guess what? You're gonna do not win.
Yeah.
Not win is going to be.
I think the smarter groups will plan a lot of these around. Hey, somebody should take Runecaster because we want that AOE shield going down. Somebody should take Friar. Somebody should take. I'm just looking at the examples here. Shieldbreaker, just in case there's a lot of knights on the other team.
Sure, and for a lot of these too, there's a couple different choices, right? Well, or at least eventually we want to have a few different choices. There's not like, well, you have to have X, Y, or Z. A couple different choices. Like for example, I want to say, what is it? The holy. What am I talking about here? The one with Graptar's hammer. That one also has some like for example, that one has some anti-fire in it. Right, so it's like if you hate fire users, well, there's also you don't have to go full anti-fire.
Oh yeah, that's Sons of Warvan.
Sure, you could take that for example, or for example, if you don't want, well, I don't like illusionist. Well, there's for my anti-stealth, there's actually a few other different disciplines that have anti-stealth in them. Like there's Mole Hunter, which is that's all just anti-stealth, but there's also I know there's at least one or two others that actually have some anti-stealth in it. So we want to try to give you as many choices as we can for these things.
Yeah, let me show them. So we were working up until the deadline, basically, this week to try and get as many of these in. So things like Naiad just didn't get their effect. So there's a lot of things that are still... Right, let me kill Troubadour here. So this is why you're not going to see people swapping these things out. Are you sure you want to destroy... Like, it's gone.
Yeah, you're saying
right.
Bye-bye.
And so once we eventually get the difficult method of acquiring these in game, which is going to be the gameplay method, not going to your book and using one ore to craft it, you are going to not want to change these
Yeah.
things.
You're gonna be a little more attached to these.
Yeah, they're a little more than just a piece of equipment.
I mean, but still, I still don't think we want to be like, hey, it's not like deleting your character. It's more like,
Yeah.
oh God, all right, well, I guess I can, I guess I want to respec now. It's time.
Well, what we also didn't mention is when you look at any of these things, am I at max resolution? Yeah, I am. Let me just go
You
to
just maximize.
yeah, let me go to maximize so we can see things better. We're eventually going to get this scaling so it's not universal because that's also annoying me. You'll notice that there's a stat on here called healing modifier and it's set to 5. And on the Bard one, they've got elemental mitigations to 3. This one's got a damage modifier to 3. That is just the baseline stat value that we put in there for now. That is going to be an experimentable stat when the crafter makes the thing, such that that stat is typically able to go to 3x of what it is in there.
Yeah,
if
generally.
you're using legendary materials when you make these things.
Perfect rolls.
Perfect
everything.
rolls will get you, like that healing modifier will get you to 15% extra healing.
Which is a lot of extra healing.
Which
Right.
is a ton of extra healing if you're using a legendary one. So the odds of you just wanting to
Yeah,
swap
just like,
these
I'm
out,
gonna throw that away.
that again, I don't think that's going to happen. It is going to be one of those hard
Yeah,
choices.
feel like it took you 3 or 4 days to gather everything that you needed for
So
this. Like,
kind of take that into focus too. Is you're not feeling it now, but eventually, when you actually have to find a Naiad thrall in the world, capture her in a soul gem. It's a high quality. You want a good crafted result out of it, and then get it crafted. It is an investment, so it's there to be changed if you need to, but it's not a thing that you do prior to and big combats or whatever.
Right.
You know that tooltip thing is super annoying.
yeah, you need to basically click to give this forward focus.
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Okay, so Fountain of Life. Let's show off Fountain of Life. So this one is. Okay, so now I'm friendly with our stand-in half health dummies over here. And I'm going to drop a... Oh, I need a weapon equipped to use this. Or why did it not update? Oh, I know why. Because it didn't update after I equipped my weapon. Anyways, so this guy uses a ground targeting reticle. And if I put it near a friendly, it's going to create a fountain, and then it's going to chain heal every 2 seconds. It's kind of funny. I tend to put in a lot of the chain healing stuff because I really like chain stuff as a mechanic because it creates interesting shapes, in my opinion, with the effects. Because when the effects artists go to it and they actually put the chains going in between there, that's not going to be a little pod. That's just the object that I had. It's probably going to be something themed around water, and there's going to be a cool water lashing chain that goes between these guys.
Where you the wacky water.
Yeah,
thing
the
is like we're always-
wacky water weasel is what I was equating it to when I designed it. So a lot of this stuff is stand-in just to give you guys a way to test it and fun playing with it because these things are a lot of fun. I think we need to increase the collider size on that projectile because it's actually taking the size of the projectile rather than the radius that I've declared on that thing. But yes. And like this one, Water Spirits, this is supposed to be a cool... it's going to be a little water spirit that moves forward and heals your team. Did the animation happen? Nope, the animation didn't happen. Instead of the...
Kind of looks like a drill.
yeah,
Sort of.
get that away from me! It's going to be a slow-moving water spirit that, again, heals as it runs by your faction. So that one is a faction one.
Yeah.
Just like the Wacky Water Weasel, this guy is also a faction one. So anybody who's damaged that runs
Yeah.
by this thing is going to get healed by it.
Throw that in the middle of a fur ball and
The reason I'm not getting healed by it is because I'm at full life.
once you go, die in a fire.
And you'll notice that when my movement speed is no longer extreme because of the aforementioned issues with movement speed. But I'm going to go stand next to that thing. And see if I get healed. Yep.
Yep.
Oh, that's odd.
Bling, bling, bling.
Why is it double pulsing if I'm in it?
Are you bouncing off of you and itself.
I don't know. That's interesting. That looks like a bug. Hey, it looks like we found a bug with this.
Yay!
Yay! Let me see if I throw this one through here. See if I run with it. Yeah, that looks correct. Probably slow the speed down on that. Questions?
Oh, we've got lots of them.
Okay.
Let's have them.
Okay, first one is, wouldn't Spirit Whip be even cooler if the third left mouse button hit gave Templars a pip for every enemy damaged?
Well,
Very
sure. I mean, wouldn't it? Well, I mean, depends on who you ask. If you ask me, the guy who tries to balance these things, so Templar's whole deal is basically she's or I should she's not say, I guess she's not going to be a she. They, since it's a class now, are sort of more feast or famine, right? That's sort of the Templar's thing, to where it's difficult
Yeah. All right.
difficult
Can't
to
do
get those pips, and you gotta.
CSR commands.
Hmm.
Do you need to cover up the CSR?
They can't really use them.
They can't use them. It's locked to us.
Until we,
They are crafty that they've been looking for.
yeah.
So some of the viewers have noticed that there aren't too many physics-based powers being granted by the disciplines, and they're wondering why.
There is, in fact, not a whole lot. I mean, Nova is,
Yeah, Nova's kind of physicsy.
but I kind of wanted our physics stuff to kind of stabilize again. But you've seen the
Yeah.
recent problems with Chain Whip. Before we start introducing more,
Yeah, or the lunch power or stuff like that. you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and I mean, we're not done making these, right?
Yeah,
this is round one.
this is round one of our stuff.
So yeah, once those things, we get those things sullied out, we'll most certainly have more of those.
Which other one do I have here? Oh, Crazy Pills.
There was an actual question about how do you plan to balance discipline power resource requirements for classes that use a PIP system?
What was the question, Anna?
Balancing discipline resources based on the PIP system.
Oh, so basically, pips are interesting, right? So for the most part, most of our costs tend towards the 15 to 20% area. So that actually makes it kind of easy. It means basically most things are going to cost 1 pip. Now, granted, in the case of like Duelist and Assassin, they generally get a multiplier on whatever they basically spend all their pips at once. That is a little different. So yeah, it is a little weird, but we're not going to there are no plans basically to be like to create special 5 versus 1 through 5 pip behavior for all the disciplines. It's basically more or less going to be one pip for now. That's what we're rolling with. But like I said, we are interested. Like I said, if you have feedback about that, we're curious to have it. But I mean,
Yeah,
for
I
the
think
most part,
that's
that's how we're rolling.
I mean,
with
we've kind of glossed over that, but I think that was one of the really big challenges in implementing this system. Was
sure the whole how do we deal with all the
no
5
one's-
different resource types?
everyone's moved on to like the things wrong. I mean, some of the achievements with this is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So you can take a discipline runestone, and this can be equipped by anybody, and it automatically updates to the style of resource that they're using.
Yeah.
And we're using the exact same power on the back end,
Mm-hmm.
which means so you could have done this in a way where you created 8 different versions of the
bad
power.
way, but we didn't do it the bad way.
We
We
did-
did it the right way.
Yes, we did it the right way.
Yeah.
So I'm sure we're both very happy about that,
I am
because it
very
means
happy about that.
8 times less the bugs. But you could have created one for every style of class, and then granted them that one. And then not only do you have a ton of bugs, because every time you have a bug, you have to fix it in 8 places, but you have to balance each of them individually. We just created a way where we could say this costs resource, and we have a coefficient table, and it puts the correct type of resource because it knows what type of resource that class uses, and
Magically works.
it magically works.
After a lot of magic work to make it work.
Yes.
But now it works.
So that's one of the huge accomplishments, and it's really cool that we can use these powers on any of the classes
Yeah.
that we pretty much deem mechanically it will work on.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we're not going to make disciplines for rage users and give it to everybody,
Right.
Because that's just silly.
And obviously there's already examples of this, but I mean there will be disciplines that can only be used by pip users because it's for pip users.
Right.
There will be things like that, but for the most part we want as many classes and races as possible to use these.
So they were hoping that you could go over some of the exploration disciplines plans for the future, and specifically whether or not you're going to split up crafting, exploration, and combat discipline equipment slots.
Okay, so
Sorry, the equipment slots.
yes, so we don't plan right now on granting any additional slots. Like if we decided to make miner as a major discipline, and it has a bunch of stuff that deals with mining, right? It would still take up one of your 2 slots, right? These things are not intended to be, oh, here's your 2 for mining or for harvesting, here's your 2 for crafting, and here's your, make a choice.
I mean, specialization is the name of the game, right?
Yes. I mean, we're specifically building all of our systems around you having to make those choices. It may also end up being, because we haven't built them yet, that we fold more stuff that's properly themed into these guys. For example, if we decide that you should get a mining passive as part of Underdog, for whatever reason, we could do that. So we might end up folding some harvesting and crafting stuff into here. We also might end up making them as their own. Now, as to exploration ones like Scout, Todd talked about that earlier. Those ones are more expensive. So these guys, the first round of combat ones, were Mark and me spending a considerable amount of time just making these powers. And we had a big list of tech asks, and engineering went through and did the tech asks at the end. For exploration style disciplines, that's pretty much a tech ask for every single thing.
Yeah.
So those are going to be much more expensive, and that's tracking things like finding other players. They're going to have to spend a couple weeks figuring out how you track players.
How does that happen?
How does that work?
Right.
So
I mean, I do predict as we are knowing how Blair and I are, we're very good at getting a lot of mileage even off a single piece of tech. So I mean, there will be some of that for the most part. You know, what Blair said is very much true.
yeah. On the other hand, we do want to add more, but adding another 50 majors would probably be. At that point, you've created a situation where some are never going to get used.
Yeah,
Right,
I mean, totally, right? I mean, we're at a point right now where it's like, we want to see, we wanted you guys to try these and give us feedback on those and let us let us know how this batch is, and then before we start.
And we'll adjust off of that. And as Todd mentioned earlier, like some of these will just wither on the vine, right? Like those 3 jalapenos from withering.
Yeah, I like the jalapenos though.
So, all right, next question.
Considering a power that allows you to reposition allies like a friendly chain pull or even multi-target, is that something that we would maybe consider adding in the future?
The question was, would we consider adding a type of chain pull that pulls friendlies?
So I have never personally, and I've seen other games do this. I've personally never been a fan of that, mainly because I personally don't like having my volition of where I place myself taken away from someone. But there are legitimate good uses for that. It's like, oh my God, he's standing in lava and he can't, standing in the firewall and he can't move. Get him out of there. That's legit. I don't know. What do you think, Blair?
Or he's rooted and he's
rooted, right? Exactly.
He got stuck in the Templar circle of pain, and it's time to get out of there.
So I mean, there's legitimate uses for it. I mean, these are the sorts of things that we're happy to argue about, and we do actually. lots of good design discussions about that stuff.
Would you guys be willing to explain the Plague Master and Black Mantle a little bit more?
Sure. So Black Mantle, it's basically it's like a healing barrier, right? So you understand how barriers work, right? So you put a barrier on yourself, and then somebody has to do damage to break through that barrier before they're able to actually damage you. Black Mantle is sort of the evil opposite of that, which is we put a barrier on you, and you have to heal through it before you can get healed. So basically, long story short, it's basically it prevents you from being healed until the healing barrier that is the Black Mantle effect is healed off.
And didn't we do something evil with some of those too? Like you must heal it off or it explodes? Or
there's one of them that basically if it's not healed off, it'll do area effect damage. That was one of the ones we did that little piece of tech to. So we could tell the difference between wearing off and expiring. I don't remember what that was called though. That was wasn't it Destroyer? Was that a Destroyer one? But anyway, yes, there's a couple versions of that particular horror that you can unleash on healers in there.
That was Plague Lord. Okay, the anti-healing.
Yes,
Yes.
the hardcore anti-heal.
Yeah.
days.
Shrivel.
Shrivel, yes, Shrivel, the jalapenos.
The 3 jalapenos.
Yes.
Have you seen the 3 jalapenos? I'm here today to talk about our
Let us-
savior. 3 jalapenos.
The jalapeno.
Next question.
So they're wondering how stealth is going to be handled as far as discipline, in relation to the discipline system, with the ranger class.
The ranger. So we had always intended to give the ranger hide as well as something that would let them advance into stealth. We still are missing that piece.
Right.
But I have started the group stealth users has ranger in it because I anticipate at some point that tech will come online.
Yeah, and I mean, assassin kind of percolating as all this other stuff going on. I think I actually mentioned that a post recently, but we'll be working on stealth and trying to basically lock down and basically harden those systems.
Yeah.
Make them more better.
Yeah, Burrow was our first pass on it. I mean, I'm sure all of you are very
Yeah,
familiar
you've
with
seen
us
the-
making a
right.
first pass on something, and then we come back and you guys find all the problems with it, and then we fix them. So that assassin, I anticipate less problems, and hopefully that will solve some of us opening up hide into. Actually, now that we have standing still and
All these important little pieces.
right with the with standing still tech that we built for take root,
And that's basically right. We can now tell whether you're moving or standing still, which
Right.
is surprisingly useful.
So for rangers, when they're standing still, they should go into the hide mode. So, which is basically stealth once we harden that piece. So
We actually had a question about that. Do we have tech for hide functionality?
do we have? Well, what we would do is we would use these. The question was, do we have tech for hide? And what we'd use is we'd use the standing still tech in conjunction with the stealth tech. And when you stand still, we would put you into stealth. And the second you move, we would break that stealth. Essentially, is how that would work. We could definitely prototype that.
Yeah,
now.
we could probably start messing with it now, but it's really like what's the next thing on the list?
Yeah, we've been building so many of these things. Yeah, standing still came online like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at how much of this stuff was just most recently done. But
So Kirchhoff was wondering how the discipline power that converts rage into health, how does that work with efficiency? And is that a negative synergy?
So how does Blood Pact is what they're talking about.
yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah.
A Blood Pact is broken on the version you guys played on because we didn't have the coefficient multiplier.
Yeah. So it's really good.
So it's really
super
good.
great.
And it's about to get way more expensive. Does efficiency play into that?
So if we look at it, I believe we are not. It is not a cost. It is a subtraction. So your efficiency wouldn't affect it. I think we can look at it. I'm fairly certain.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that one.
Yeah, I was saying we could look at it right now, but and answer you live.
Okay.
But
Blood Pact?
I think is what we're talking about. Blood. You think blood is enough? You think we have enough blood in this game? Everything has blood in it, Blair.
Oh my god, noble blood, bloody swine. Oh my
Blood on top of blood.
Ah!
Blood strikes and blood. There you go.
There we
That's
go.
how one works. All right.
This one is super easy. All it's doing is it's setting
It's
an
okay.
overload.
Hey, look at that. So yeah, that wouldn't be affected by efficiency because it's happening not as a cost, but as we're just removing it. So as I expected.
But yeah, the resource
I
multiplier.
would have hit myself. Bad Halash, what are you doing?
They're playing with the resource multiplier of 1 right now, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's about to be 10 times more expensive, which is still useful.
Still really good, actually. To be honest, it should be. I worked it out to be. It should be 50, but that would be like you wouldn't want to drain your entire health bar. Would be kind of worthless. So we're giving you a premium price on that. So it should be useful.
Okay, next question.
Are the heals intended to be on the weaker side, or will they scale greatly with the healing stat?
So support power, we just recently removed every additional thing from healing.
And I think, is that live now?
Yeah, that's live.
Okay,
They
so
have,
you're feeling that. I don't know, did we even announce that?
it's
We
in the
just
patch
announced
notes.
that. No. Oh, it's in the
It's in the patch notes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, so support power, again, our goal here was to make it such that support power classes felt like they were more supporting. So you'll notice that the support power classes have their chain healing and chain hots automatically jumps one additional time. They just get that for being a support class. So if a knight were to take Friar, his chain heal is only going to jump once. A support guy automatically jumps an additional 2 times. So, and then there's other stats that increase that beyond that amount. Support power is the main driver for improved healing, and we're going to make a pass and put in some more support powery kind of stuff. So if you want to be that support guy, you will specialize in getting support power rather than attack power. It was already on the equipment, but I don't think anybody was actually using it.
Yeah, and there's really not enough, and we should really give you. I mean, we're going to give you some more of it just for free for choosing to play a support class to some degree too. So I mean, basically, your healing's a little weaker right now, even if you're playing support class than intended. But
yeah, but I mean, if you want to be a knight
because of that recent change. But.
Yeah, if you want to be a knight who's a friar, and you want to be really good at chain healing, he also needs to take Pixie to get an additional jump. And he will need to make his gear such that it's support power based rather than attack power based. So we're kind of making you choose which way you want to skew more. Whereas before, we were just giving it all to you for free.
For free.
For free.
What were those wild gesticulations? That
Probably about time to wrap up, but
Okay.
maybe we could end with you guys explaining what your favorite disciplines are.
So for me, the Bard Troubadour ones came out as I envisioned them, and I'm super happy with them. The effects look good. The toggle powers are great. I think they're going to be a lot of fun. And this was just kind of under the radar. So if I hadn't burned 4 weekends building these things, it probably wouldn't have happened. So this is kind of one of my faves. How about you, Mark?
cool. Oh, what was the question? I'm sorry.
What was your
I
fave?
like literally my fave.
What's one of your faves out of this first batch?
Well, to be honest, I actually liked trying to cover as many bases as I could as far as like getting the counters for all the stuff, right? So making sure that we're covered as far as like, hey, there's something for there's stuff for anti-healing, there's stuff for anti-slashing, stuff for anti, this type, that type. So making sure we're covered as far as balance and giving you guys ways to deal with the stuff.
How about mechanically? Which one was the most fun to build?
The most fun to build mechanically. Where's the list? I mean, so it's one of these things. Like I did this for.
Of course.
Yeah. Oh damn. So doing this for 2 months. I mean, really, like a lot of the stealth ones were fun actually to think of, right? Like I enjoyed working on like the Mole Hunter ones were cool. The Black Mantle or the Black Mask ones were actually cool too. Just mainly because I like stealth classes. Think of the cool stuff, cool and evil things for you to do. Like actually Agent Provocateur is another one that was fun to work on. So.
Cool. Who's up next, Max?
It is John O'Neill with the environment improvements.
Okay,
All
I'm
right.
going to clear out of here, and O'Neill will come on in. Thanks.
All right.
Hope you enjoy all these.